Okay, y'all, Joe Rogan just started connecting dots that probably were not supposed to be connected. Because somehow, Diddy, Oprah, and Clive Davis have all entered the same conversation, and suddenly Hollywood is looking a little too small. February 11th, 2012, at 3:30 p.m., Whitney Houston is found drowned in her bathtub. Paramedics arrive at the scene and begin treating her in a bid to revive her. Unfortunately for them, Whitney is long gone, and emergency responders tragically pronounce her dead at 3:55 p.m. The entertainment world is shocked by the news. A night before the Grammys, one of the world's brightest artists is found face down in the pool with drugs pumped into her at dizzying levels. And while her death is being investigated, her mentor and close friend Clive Davis is throwing a party downstairs. This party, though skipped by many celebrities for obvious reasons, was still attended by a number that many found incredulous. Many people understandably asked the question, how could you throw a party after one of your best friends was found dead in a bathtub under such mysterious circumstances? People have, for the longest time, theorized that Clive Davis himself had something to do with her death. And as we will get into later, there is certainly a lot of evidence that suggests foul play in what happened to her. Now, though, Joe Rogan has come up with a theory that turns this case completely on its head. He believes Clive Davis didn't act alone. He thinks Oprah Winfrey and Diddy were involved too.
So every day they would come over and I would sell Bobbi Brown and Whitney Houston. You know, they would come over like $1,100, which was per diem money. I was taking Whitney's per diem money, right? Every day they come over with a little white envelope and give me the per diem money. And I'd go up to the Martel cartel and I'd buy 14 grams of take an 8-ball out and cut it and then give it to Whitney Houston. And they were going crazy. This went on for 30, 40 days. But I couldn't snort all the blow I was stealing from them. I couldn't snort it. It was just too much. So I was giving it to Marilyn Martinez to hold for me.
Isn't she dead?
She's dead. That's the coke that killed her.
There's criminals all over everyone's almost accounts in the music industry. It's not a safe place. It's a treacherous place. So
filled with money. As soon as things are filled with money, they're filled with people that are trying to take advantage of other people.
It's filled with money, bees come to honey.
That is indeed a man by the name of Joey Diaz admitting to selling coke to Whitney Houston, coke that ended up killing her. It's no surprise Joe Rogan's made the connection, considering it was practically admitted to on his podcast. The fact that he's made the connection now is what's interesting, as we've recently had Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, Pat, publicly call out Oprah Winfrey.
Pat, first and foremost, what went through your mind when you heard Oprah's comments?
The first interview I did with her, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform, she was not. And she fell off of the stage.
When I watched it, I was totally surprised. And, you know, my response, it didn't have anything to do with anger or outrage with Oprah, because I know for a fact on that day that Whitney was not high.
What do you remember about Whitney that day when you saw her and you looked into her eyes?
That was a very meaningful moment for her. In the history of knowing Whitney for over 30 some odd years, of course she abused drugs and everything, but for her craft, Whitney never showed up on stage high. You couldn't even get her out of her room, you know, if she were high. And for a statement to be made like that, it was extremely disappointing. And I have all the respect in the world for Oprah. I have to protect her legacy, you know. If it were true, I would admit it being true.
What Pat does admit, Whitney did fall off the stage during rehearsals.
She missed her step and she fell off stage. And of course, Oprah was very gracious and she immediately, you know, addressed the audience.
The audience had cameras. I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life.
She was adamant about it. No one will hear about this. You will not disrespect her. And she was so adamant and gracious.
What would you say to Oprah today?
Sister to sister, what happened? Because we both know that did not happen. I certainly would just want to ask the question, why? But it's not something, it wouldn't be anything confrontational, because I know that Whitney really, you know, trusted her, and so did I.
Oprah recently appeared at the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity, where she accepted an award and reflected on some of the most unforgettable moments from her legendary talk show. During the event, Oprah shared a story that immediately got people talking. She claimed that Whitney Houston once arrived at her show struggling so badly with substance issues that she actually fell off the stage in front of a live audience. According to Oprah, she stepped in to protect Whitney, asking everyone in attendance not to share any photos because she believed those images would have destroyed Whitney's life if they had gone public.
I was interviewing Whitney Houston. I think it was her last show with us, and she had gone back on drugs.
You're drug-free?
Yes, ma'am. No weed. No.
Do you think you ever will again? Be tempted?
Oprah, I can only take today, one day at a time. Right now, no.
The first interview I did with her, she was clean. But the day she came to my show then to perform in front of the audience, she was not. And she fell off of the stage.
That unforgettable 2009 interview took place nearly 2.5 years before Whitney's tragic drowning. It was shot over several days and spanned 2 cities, first New York.
Your drug of choice was weed combined with cocaine.
Okay.
With rock.
Yes.
Then Chicago.
I am at that point in my life, I have no regrets.
While accepting the Cannes Lionheart Award, Oprah now says she tried to protect the singer by covering up the apparent relapse.
I knew if that story got out that she'd fallen off of the stage, that she would be destroyed by that. And so even though the audience had cameras, I begged them not to put those pictures out because it would ruin her life, and they did not.
I spoke to Oprah in Chicago just days before the interview aired.
Did she tell the truth about her relationship, the drug?
She gave it up. She talked about what she did to the point where I was like, I'm confused, and Whitney in one moment says, stay with me, Oprah.
We're freebasing cocaine.
Basically.
So what are you smoking with? How do you,
You put it in your marijuana. Oprah. Okay.
Okay.
Go with me here.
Okay, I'm going with you.
You put it in your marijuana, you lace it, you roll it up, and you smoke it, and your weed.
You ask the question, and they are saying things, and your jaw is dropping, and you're like, ay, 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 ay.
Once Oprah's comments made the rounds, people were incensed. One of the hosts on Jaguar Wright's show asked Grace and Jaguar what they thought about Oprah sharing the story now. Grace didn't hold back. She said that, in her opinion, Oprah has always been disrespectful, and she believes Oprah speaks on behalf of what she called the wicked machine that she comes from.
Grace can go first. I'll let her say what she has to say, because what I have to say, it's going to hit a little different.
Honestly, when it comes to Oprah, she's very disrespectful. Like, I see how she tried. Like, she just so disrespectful. T.D. and like, y'all personally know how I feel about Oprah. So anytime she even opens her mouth, it's already on behalf of the wicked machine that she stems from. And for her to just, it's like we said earlier, TD, how I was shocked that the machine just keep going. I'm not surprised she's gonna be disrespectful and mention anybody and mention Whitney. The fact that Whitney's name came out of her mouth, I feel she need to be slapped, but that's me personally. I don't do disrespect like that. Somebody needed to start showing people like Oprah that ignorant respect.
Jag,
girl,
Jag, your take?
Well, for me, I look at the timing.
Yeah.
Y'all know, just like Clarence Avant used to say, it all comes down to the numbers. For me, it all comes down to the timing. She's there being honored, accepting this award. There's so many interviews she could have talked about with uncomfortable things that were viral moments. She could have talked about when Tom Cruise came and was jumping on the couch, going crazy over Katy Perry. I mean, not Katy Perry. Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have talked about so many other things, but the simple fact that this moment that she's speaking about wasn't even aired, that it was only known to the people in that room. And since 2009, we're talking 17 years.
Yeah.
Nobody from that audience has leaked any of that at all. Nobody heard anything about this. That moment did not exist until this interview public.
Jaguar argued that, as far as the public was concerned, that moment simply didn't exist until Oprah decided to tell the story herself during this recent appearance. Jaguar then said she started doing her own research, and this was a particularly interesting turn to the conversation. She revealed that Pat Houston is Whitney Houston's sister-in-law, through Whitney's brother. She's not a blood relative, but she served as Whitney's longtime manager and now oversees Whitney's estate. Jaguar claimed that Pat Houston is very, very, very compromised, while the host clarified Pat's official role as manager and the person responsible for the estate. According to Pat's account, Whitney was completely sober. She said Whitney fell because the lighting around the stage during soundcheck was extremely poor, and the staging area was pitch black. That immediately raised another question. If that's true, why would Oprah choose to tell the story the way she did? And why bring it up now? Jaguar said she has a theory.
I have another theory. Clive Davis was officially announced as deceased on the 22nd
Yes.
of June. Now, this festival that she's at in Cannes, it started on the 21st, and I believe it ended on like the 23rd or the 24th. So I believe it, the 23rd.
Yes.
She was honored on the 23rd, the day after Clive had passed away. And from the second that Clive passed away and it was announced, people have been, look at what you did to Whitney Houston. Look at what you did to Whitney Houston. You did this to Whitney Houston. You did that to Whitney Houston. I think all of us know that the elites for years now have used Oprah Winfrey to destroy whoever the media once destroyed. She sat there and she pretended to be a supporter of Michael Jackson in his life.
Lord.
But then after his
Lord.
death, she sat there and she interviewed that Leaving Neverland nonsense. The way she does people, the way she lined up Toni Braxton about her bankruptcies, the way, like, Oprah, this is what she do.
And now, this is where Diddy also comes in. Jaguar claimed that when both Oprah and TD Jakes faced public scrutiny over attending Diddy parties, Oprah later appeared with TD Jakes, and they both downplayed their involvement, saying they had only briefly attended after being invited and hadn't witnessed anything inappropriate.
Indeed, she did do that as well, and she sacked Monique. But let's also not forget all of the people who she helped for the media's sake. Because Lord knows when her and TD Jakes were both being called out for their attendance at Diddy parties, she sat down with TD Jakes and they said, oh my God, I was just there for a second. I was invited. I've never been to any parties. I haven't seen anything. And when they started talking about Epstein Island, she started doing damage control.
Yeah.
You know, that's what she does. And in my opinion, if I had to guess at dollars to donuts, I think she got a phone call while she was there in France. I think someone in the elite structure said, look, we need you to do a hit piece on Whitney for Clive. This is becoming too much. Too many people are talking about the demises and they all keep talking about Whitney. There's Whitney memes everywhere. This needs to stop. We need you to do something big. Make sure the world hears it. Make sure it goes viral. Now, she didn't say anything about Clive. But
Not
what
at
she
all.
did do was highlighted Whitney Houston's addiction issues. But this is from an interview from back in 2009. Whitney didn't die until 2012. I Look to You and all of that came after that. So, once again, nobody was talking about Whitney's addiction issues in 2009. Nobody was talking about any of that. Like, for crying out loud, Clive was still sending her overseas to make a fool of herself doing concerts while she was stone high out of her mind.
Yeah, she was in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, right? During
Kazakhstan. She was
Yep.
that
Mhm.
Kazakhstan, for crying out loud. But see, her reminding the world in some benign way that Whitney was an addict, it gives credence to the theory that she died of an overdose in that tub. And it takes the spotlight away from people speculating about whether or not Clive was the one that did it. See how that works?
Yeah, got it.
That's media spin 101. 101. And Whitney's dead. So why does she care? Who's going to sue her?
Right.
What Jaguar's effectively saying here is one thing. Oprah is trying to spin a narrative about Whitney's death so long after her death. Why? Well, many believe, and the evidence too suggests, that the people responsible are trying to hide the fact that Whitney Houston was killed.
Whitney Houston came into a hotel room, right? Yeah. That's a 5-star hotel, Hollywood Hilton, right? Beverly Hills Hilton. Can I ask you a question? Where the footage from the hallway? Where the footage from the hallway? Why we never saw the footage from the hallway? You know why? Because whoever had Whitney Houston had enough power to make that footage disappear. But for what though?
That's what I was gonna ask though. What she was fighting for?
I'm gonna tell you what I think she was fighting for. What do all entertainers do when they run out of money? So they masters publishing. What's the first thing they start looking at?
They publishing, they masters.
They publishing,
yes.
Their masters,
yes.
And all the royalties that I never got.
Yes, yes.
So Whitney Houston broke the Beatles record. Yes. Whitney Houston broke Elvis's record. Whitney Houston is the only black artist ever, not even Michael Jackson.
So on right now, it's a very strange story this morning. The death of Whitney Houston, of course, shocked fans around the world. Now a private investigator is dropping quite a bombshell, claiming that she was actually murdered.
He says he's got proof. KTLA's Christina Pascucci is live outside the Beverly Hilton with more on this. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris and Megan. A very strange story indeed. This former police officer, private investigator, and actor says he has proof and evidence he's sending to the FBI that Whitney Houston was murdered by two men, drug dealers, who were trying to collect a debt. Let's show you a video from the night that this all happened back in February. Whitney Houston was found dead here at the Beverly Hilton. Toxicology reports showed she drowned in her bathtub accidentally because of use and heart disease. But Paul Hubel, he says that is not the case. He is sending key evidence to the FBI. Two main points of evidence. First, he says there were classic defense wounds on Houston's body that show signs of struggle as if she fought for her life. Secondly, he says on February 11th, the day Houston died, there was reportedly a 45-minute gap when she was alone. That's when the private investigator claims two men snuck into Houston's hotel room here at the Beverly Hilton, and it was all caught on tape. We contacted Mr. Hubel for comment. He hasn't yet gotten back to us. We do know when asked who hired him, he wouldn't say. All he will confirm is that it was someone who did not believe or accept the circumstances surrounding Houston's death. We also contacted Beverly Hills Police. They say this is the first time they've really heard anything about this, and they will not comment at this time. Really all we know at this point, surely a good idea to remain skeptical until this evidence comes to fruition and is shown.
And then the next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in that gave her the shot. Leola has said, Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beat. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Jaguar believes anything released under Whitney Houston's name today is primarily about making money for the people who control her estate, specifically mentioning Clive Davis. According to Jaguar, this isn't a film meant to celebrate Whitney Houston. She claimed it's really about paying back the people who continue to benefit financially from Whitney's legacy.
And you see no kind of in this movie. Do you feel like it's an injustice to what this look?
I feel like anything with her name on it is strictly for the purposes of financial gain for those who have access to her estate, including Clive Davis.
Including Clive Davis.
Clive Davis. This ain't a film to celebrate Whitney Houston. This is a film to, you know, pay the piper.
He was the one trying to bring her back, though, at the time of prior to her death, right?
Him.
Okay.
He needed her back.
Oh, yeah.
He needed her back, but he needed her back and under his control. You want to know what Clive Davis did for Whitney Houston? While he was busy trying to bring her back. See, people forget, before she came to the United States, he sent her on an international tour. And she went out on tour, and she was still getting high at the time. You know, let's see. What happens if I put in Whitney Houston, Kazakhstan?
That's where she went? She was out in Kazakhstan? Oh, man.
This was not long before she passed away.
I think I know what you're about
here's
to pull
the
up.
full concert. She only did 4 songs.
Yeah, I think I know what I think I remember the voice.
Huh?
Yeah, I remember you with the voice. I know where you're about to go with this. I think I remember this one.
Not just the voice,
Just everything.
the whole show.
Ouch.
Straight to commercial.
Yeah. It's yeah, I see that. It's definitely.
It'll make you cry if you really love music and if you really love Whitney Houston. And then after a couple of joints, you will find it hilarious. Not because you're happy that she's falling apart. It's just she's doing the antics so dope. You know what I mean? She was in it. Huh? What is my key? Like she's in front of the president of Kazakhstan.
Oh my God.
But it was good enough to get that check though. And then he put her in rehab to clean her up right before it came time for America, because she had to at least appear sober in America for the whirlwind story. And then they brought in R. Kelly to do that song for her. Fire.
She said that after everything involving Clive Davis, Ray J entered Whitney's life. She went on to claim that shortly before the Grammy Awards, Whitney and Clive Davis had a major argument. According to Jaguar, she had been told that Bobbi Kristina was present for at least part of that confrontation. Jaguar then pointed out that only 2 days later, Whitney was dead. She claimed Ray J was the last person to see Whitney alive.
And Brandy was the one that found her. But you know, they pledge allegiance to Clive too.
Jeez.
Well, you know, Ray J was kind of down on his luck because the whole bullshit had happened, and then, you know, Whitney was dead and he was using her, as he's said himself, for clout, and then all of a sudden he got Love and Hip Hop LA after Whitney died. And then they inappropriately put her stupid ass goddaughter on there. I just thought it was all kind of cheesy. Yeah, so now I probably won't be watching the movie just because I know whose money the proceeds are going to, and royally, and for inventing Diddy. For that. For letting that out of control whack ass whoremonger and sodomite just run rampant all over this goddamn business. For that.
Now what's really horrifying about this is that Whitney's daughter, Bobbi Kristina herself, would also die a few years later trying to investigate her mother's death. Her aunt, Leola Brown, would then claim something that shocked the world, that both Bobbi and Whitney were murdered.
I believe that somebody killed my niece, just like they killed her mother.
Bobbi Kristina Brown's aunt Leola Brown is claiming in an Inside Edition exclusive that she thinks her niece was murdered.
Nick, Bobbi Kristina. When Nick gets arrested, everything will fall like dominoes.
Nick Gordon has never been arrested or charged in connection with Bobbi Kristina's death, and he has denied any wrongdoing. Bobbi was found unresponsive in a bathtub last January and was taken off life support on July 26th.
I believe that there are several people that wanted Bobbi Kristina dead, but I think the purpose of her death was to gain full access to Whitney Houston's estate.
Watch Inside Edition to see what Leola says happened in the days before Bobbi's death.
See, something is wrong here. Something is very wrong here.
So, according to Whitney's own family and industry insiders, her death involved foul play, very likely from Clive Davis and Oprah Winfrey. But where does Diddy come in? Well, according to ITKs, Diddy was the very person Clive depended on to enforce his law. Diddy was Clive's model student and next in line to his musical kingdom, making him an extremely strong suspect in Whitney's death.
Jaguar Wright told us that Diddy learned everything from Clive Davis. Jaguar Wright has explained how much of a monster Clive Davis is, and she constantly says that Diddy learned everything from him. Jaguar Wright claimed that Clive Davis had something to do with Whitney Houston's unaliving because she was getting ready to leave Clive Davis's record label because she realized she was missing a whole bunch of money. And a lot of people thought it was terrible when Clive Davis continued to party even though Whitney Houston had just died in the same hotel. And then to add that with even more mystery, it was super weird when Whitney Houston gave this note to Brandy the night before she passed away. And honestly, I want to know what that note says more than anything honestly in the world. And then after Whitney Houston passed away, Bobbi Brown's sister started saying that Whitney's death was no accident and saying that Bobbi Kristina was not safe.
Whitney Houston's body told anybody upon looking at it that it was foul play. Okay, don't get it twisted. No, Whitney Houston, I counted at least 10 gashes in her chest alone. She had marks up and down her legs. Her fingernails were chipped. Her face was busted out. It was blown up. Yes, as if somebody was her in the face. Whitney Houston fought for her life.
Jaguar Wright claimed that this happened to Whitney Houston because she was trying to leave Clive Davis. And then she said the same thing happened to Bobbi Kristina because Bobbi Kristina inherited Whitney Houston's estate. And Jaguar Wright claimed that Bobbi Kristina's boyfriend had a meeting with Clive Davis, and this is how Clive Davis basically set it up to make the same thing happen to Bobbi Kristina. And just wait till you hear what Bobbi Brown's sister had to say about Bobbi Kristina's passing.
Basically, right before Whitney was murdered, Nick was brought into the picture. And when Nick did that to Bobbi Kristina and she was rushed to the hospital, because after he beat her and drew her up them steps, he shot her up with something and threw her in the bathtub. It was a setup. It was a setup. Yes. Nick was told not to let her go out of that house and to do whatever it was he got paid to do.
So, do you think these three had something to do with Whitney Houston's death? Did Joe Rogan's podcast just give us the final clue to her death? Let us know what you think in the comments below.